Everybody wants to do something a little differently. I like to tell the story about the time where a guy was on a ski lift and he pulled out the ring right next to his girl. They're on a ski lift going up to the top of the mountain and he drops the ring, right? Can you imagine what she felt like and watching that go by underneath them? But obviously he thought about this and what a jokester he was, but it wasn't the real ring.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Community Spotlight, where I interview local businesses that I know and trust and introduce them to you. Today I have the pleasure of being at Beckers Jewlers here with Bill Becker, and we're going to chat a little bit and give you guys insight into the story behind this amazing place. So without further ado, Bill, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Well, thanks for stopping out at Beckers, Isaac.
Yeah.
It's a real pleasure to have you here. I've seen some of your videos and they look very, very interesting. I'm just proud to be a part of it.
No, that's awesome. I so appreciate it. So just kind of jumping back to before you started working in here, I really don't know the origin story of Beckers Jewlers. So if you could just kind of jump back to when maybe you were in college, what was on your mind in college for what you'd go on to do?
Well, to give you a little bit of background about Beckers, I guess we have to take a step back even further than that. My dad started the business. He was in World War II over in North Africa.
Okay.
And in his spare time would repair watches. He found that was something that he liked doing and that he was good at doing it, and got to the point where people were finding him over there because, you know, it's not like you could walk down to the local jewelry store and have your watch repaired.
Right.
So he was doing that, and then like a lot of guys did after World War II, he came back home and through the GI Bill was able to do some training and was hired on actually here in Burlington at a jewelry store called Mittens Jewlers as a watchmaker's apprentice. And back in those days, you had to have a license to be able to work on watches.
Okay.
You had your own number and that sort of thing. Maybe it's because if something went wrong with it, they could open the watch up and see the number of who did the work and go back at them.
Yeah.
But yeah, after he finished his apprenticeship, became a licensed watchmaker, he opened a shop at the Brazelton Hotel in Mount Pleasant, a little shop right there on the square.
Wow.
And worked there for a while, and you know, obviously it kind of rolled into doing other things, selling watches and then selling rings and jewelry.
Okay.
And then my mother got involved and they bought a location just not too far from there in 1963, and we were there for almost 20 years, and then bought another location, which is where we're at right now in Mount Pleasant. That was back in 1981.
Okay.
And actually, I remember being in high school thinking, well, this is the last thing that I want to do. You
Really?
know, when you're young like that, probably the last thing you want to do is stay home. I wanted to go out and see the world.
Yep.
But an opportunity came by actually across the street from here when the mall was opening up at a large chain.
Yep.
Went to work for them and kind of moved up in the ranks and was at the district headquarters store. And I remember going to a manager's meeting over there. And I got into this room and there were 10, 15 other kids at that age. We were all in our early 20s. And I remember thinking, boy, these guys are really into this. And they were really, you know, they were looking at the numbers and how to improve business and whatnot. And I thought, you know, maybe there's something to this after all.
Yeah.
And knowing that I had kind of an inside track, after a couple years with them, I went back home.
Okay.
And got a job with my dad and my mom, and worked over there for a while. And back then, it was all about education. It was all about gemology.
Okay.
And what a great way to learn. There was a school in California that I had an opportunity to get into. It was really hard to get into. They had a waiting list, and if you were married and whatnot, it wasn't real easy to pull up roots and
Yeah.
move to California. But I was single at the time, and I got a call, and they said, if you can be out here in 3 weeks, you can get in next
No
semester.
kidding. Wow.
So I spent probably a year out there at the Gemological Institute of America, learning all about diamonds and all about colored stones and design and so on and so forth. And then I came back and started to work for my parents over there.
Wow. And at that point, they, again, just had the store in Mount Pleasant.
Right.
And did you say one other one too?
Just the one in Mount Pleasant
Okay.
at that time. This was back in the early 80s, I think. And,
Okay.
as we grew, our name got out there, and we started to develop a clientele base from the Burlington area.
Okay.
And I would deliver things down here and pick up things, and we did some business with some companies down here, did some of their corporate work. And then it was kind of funny because if I were going out or going to work out or something, I was coming to Burlington. So I always had it in the back of my head that I would try and open a store in Burlington. Well, lo and behold, we had an opportunity to open a temporary place,
Okay.
actually over here at where the old Westland Ford used to be. Right now it's a industrial equipment rental place.
Sure,
Just over across the viaduct from here.
Yeah.
Anyway, on a shoestring, we borrowed some merchandise from some manufacturer and bought some used cases and opened up over there for a couple years to kind of get our feet wet
Yeah.
and see how things went. And they went very well.
So you came back from California and just immediately.
Well, there was a few years between working in the Mount Pleasant store and then when we opened up a store over here. So we opened that up, and then I knew the guy that owned the land over here, and my brother-in-law and I went together and bought the parcel. He built a building behind us, and then I built this building, and then designed the store, and then opened that up. And geez, that's been 20 years ago.
Wow.
So a lot has transpired, but Burlington's been very good to us, and southeastern Iowa as a whole.
Okay.
But yeah, we kind of, as our foundation of things, we've always been a repair shop. So if there's something that needed to be done, we could do it.
Yeah.
Whether it be watches or repairing jewelry or setting diamonds or colored stones. And it kind of developed into a large custom base as well.
Okay.
And now with technology, we do a lot with CAD work, wax printing, and then casting, and so on and so forth. We've got a full casting facility in our Mount Pleasant store.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, it's fun. I enjoy getting my hands involved and dirty, so to speak, with the creation of things and repairing things and making things over and so on and so
So you
forth.
guys kind of can even custom craft these rings, like just based on a design. Like you can make them. Wow.
Some people, and today, they say that over half of the engagement business is custom design. So
Really?
a lot of people come in and they see a ring, they purchase it, and they leave with it. But generally it involves, well, I like this, but I want to see this a little differently, or they want to make it their own.
Yeah.
It's an individual thing to be engaged and have something that is unique to themselves.
Yeah.
So in today, it used to be that you'd have sit down with a piece of paper and sketch something out. Today, it's all done through computer-aided design.
Yeah.
And if somebody has an idea, we can start with that and create some sort of idea on what they want to do with their design and whatnot, and use the software to come up with a rendering to see what the item looks like.
So they can see what it's going to look like even before it gets made.
Yeah, what's great about that is the rendering software these days is such that you'll have a 3D rendering of the item in different positions, but you can also have a video of the item, and it looks darn near real.
Wow.
And it'll rotate, so you can actually see the item before it's ever started.
Did you start getting into any of that while your dad was still around at all?
You know, that was a long time ago. You know, we got into the casting business quite a long time ago, and it was, and there's still guys that do this. They can take a block of wax with an idea in their head and take some wax files and just literally carve the item out of a block of wax, not unlike sculpture.
Yeah, no kidding.
So, but that takes a lot of talent, and I'm not much of an artist.
Yeah.
If I envision something, I can see it, but I'm going to need a computer or something to come up with the idea.
Back when you were thinking, I'm never going to go into this, you were in high school, what were some of the things that you enjoyed doing for fun? Were you a sports guy at all?
A little bit. I always enjoyed swimming. I'd come down to the Y and swim laps and do some running, do some 5Ks or whatnot. And I kind of still do that. I'm not near as fast as I used to be, but I still enjoy it.
Yeah.
It's a great way to keep in shape and whatnot. And, you know, it's funny, I probably bicycle a lot more now than I ever did, except when I was 12 or 14, we lived on our bicycles.
Yeah.
And living in a small town in Iowa, you know, you'd get up and go over to a friend's house clear across town, and today you'd never do that.
Yeah, I know.
But yeah, it's a lot of fun.
I might have missed it. So were you born and raised in Mount Pleasant
Right.
then? Okay.
Right.
Awesome.
Yeah. So lived over here for a while and then moved to the district headquarters store in central Illinois. I went to school in California for a while. Lived in Omaha for a while. So I kind of had a few little blurps here and there of living other places, but inevitably came back home to roost.
So once you started and you opened the store and you're kind of running things, what was it that stuck out to you running a shop and doing the thing that made you go, man, I really love this? Was there any kind of one thing that you just really loved?
You know, occasionally, and it's a great thing about this particular industry, is that when people walk through the front door, you know them, most of our customers, by their first name, but they're here to celebrate something.
Yeah.
Whether it's a birthday or an anniversary or especially an engagement, they're really excited, and I really kind of feed off that.
Yeah.
So when they come in and they're looking for an engagement ring, you know, we want to find out what's the story, you know, what's her name? How long have you been dating one another? Tell us about her.
Yeah.
And I think that's what people relate to. And if you can do that, get that experience going with them, that's what really means something to them. And sometimes they walk out and you're so excited, you get to meet the girl, you get to share in the joy of the experience of someone proposing to someone. That's really exciting.
Yeah.
And how they do it, because everybody has a story, you know.
So do they come back and say, here's how I did it, or maybe beforehand, here's what I'm going to do when I propose?
Well, if they don't, we make sure they do.
Yeah, for sure.
Because like I said, it's all about the story. You can buy things anywhere, but if you can get to know the person and get to know who it is they're getting engaged to, and sometimes they need a little help in how to propose.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to do something a little differently. I like to tell the story about the time where a guy was on a ski lift, and he pulled out the ring right next to his girl. They're on a ski lift going up to the top of the mountain, and he drops the ring, right? Can you imagine what she felt like and watching that go by underneath them? But obviously, he thought about this, and what a jokester he was, but it wasn't the real ring.
Oh, no.
So after the excitement went by the way, that he actually told her what was going on. But everybody's got a little different story on how they got engaged, and they love to share that, and make sure they take a lot of pictures so they can share it with us. And sometimes we can share it with our customers as well.
So then you probably get to celebrate with them from just moment to moment through their life of engagement, and then just anniversary, when he's coming in for some earrings for their 10th anniversary or something.
Right. Well, and that's the whole thing. If you can create a relationship with that person and make it more about the experience than the business transaction, then you've got that.
Yeah.
It's not unlike inviting someone into your own home. You know, we tell people, the staff here, like, if a customer walks in, just imagine yourself having a party and they're a guest in your house.
Yeah.
That's the way we like to look at it. But you talk about developing a relationship. We've been in business for over 75 years.
Wow.
And we're to the point now where some kids come into the store that their father bought the engagement ring. Some kids come into the store where their grandfather bought the engagement ring.
Wow.
And I know some people that have come in and expressed that desire that they want to carry on that tradition that their father started and their grandfather started.
How neat is that?
So yeah, I feel very blessed to be in an industry where we can, I mean, it's all about the emotion.
Yeah.
You know, it's not about a transaction, it's about the emotion and getting to know the person and getting them to open up.
Yeah.
Because, you know, a guy walking in, and if he's already made that decision to propose to someone, imagine the excitement that is in him at that point. He just wants to tell everybody, right?
Yeah.
He wants to tell the world he's in love.
Wow. Yeah, no, that's incredible. Just something I experienced already just coming in while the girls were here. It just seems like you guys have such a tight-knit, just positive culture. It just seems like everybody's happy to be here. Is there anything that you kind of lean into or focus on to help create that environment?
Well, yeah, kind of. I don't know if there's one particular thing that we do, but I've been in this business long enough that, you know, let's just have some fun with it. I mean, if you've got to come to a place every day and go to work and do your job, why not have some fun with it?
Yeah.
And we try and hire people that have that same mindset.
Yeah.
The first thing we want to do in the morning is come up with what we call the PMA, your positive mental attitude.
Love
You know, you got to look right, you got to dress right, and you got to have this up here right as well.
I love that.
So, you know, a lot of it also is sharing time with your employees. We try to occasionally, you know, do things outside the store together.
Yeah.
Become sort of a family, if you will.
Yeah. No, that's super huge.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Well, and people tend to stick around in positions that they like.
Yeah.
You know, it's not a job per se.
Yeah.
And when we kind of feed off one another.
We make friends with each other, and it's fun to come into work. If there was somebody that was thinking about coming into the store, is there anything that you'd like them to be aware of, maybe specifically for the holidays or just in general, that you'd like for them to kind of know or be thinking about?
Well, there's, you know, it's the number one time of the year to get engaged.
Yeah.
So if you're ever thinking about doing it, now's the time.
Yeah.
And also the number two time is Valentine's Day. So that's just around the corner as well. But, you know, we try and concentrate on the basics. After the engagement ring, a diamond pendant's nice, diamond bracelet is nice, pearls are great, things that you can wear all the time. Some of the things you can wear for casual or for dress, so it isn't always about having to go out somewhere to wear something. You can wear a lot of these things every day.
Yeah.
Like a pair of diamond studs. That's probably my number one all-around go-to gift is a pair of diamond studs.
Yeah. No, that's awesome.
Yeah.
When you're not at the Y in the morning or here at the store, what's something that just is Bill Becker? What do you just love?
Well, in the summertime, the first thing I like to do on a Sunday morning after going to church, of course, is get on my bike and go out for a solo ride.
Yeah.
Or doing something to, you know, after I'm done with that, I come home and feel like I've accomplished something for the day.
Yeah.
Whether it's physically or mentally as well.
Definitely.
But yeah, do something out there or hang out with my wife. Talk about going to see the kids.
Yeah.
They're both far from home now, so
Yeah, wow.
plan some sort of family trip.
Yeah. Are you still working on old vehicles in your garage?
Yep. I'm restoring a 72 Corvette,
Yeah.
a nut and bolt restoration. Didn't really intend to start out that way,
Yeah.
but it kind of took a life of its own. So
they do.
it's been about 4 years now.
Hey, just a
And
little
I'll
bit
just,
at a time.
exactly, it'll be done when it's done.
Yeah. Is there anything that I haven't asked you about at all that you'd like to mention at all?
You know, there's a lot we can cover, but we just need some direction on which way to go. But,
Yeah.
you know, I just, you know, people like to go to places like this that they know they're going to be around, that they can bring their item back and have it adjusted or repaired or fixed or tweaked or buy something that matches that.
Yeah.
So,
Have that confidence.
yeah, we were here yesterday, we're going to be here today, and we'll be here tomorrow.
Yeah, no, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Bill, thank you so much. It's been seriously so cool to hear your story and share that with the community. So really, you guys, you've got, if you haven't been to Beckers Jewlers, either in Burlington or Mount Pleasant, you've got to. It's fantastic here. Great staff, great care. And if you've been coming here for years, keep doing it, because this place is here to stay. Thank you guys so much for watching. This has been Bill Becker with Beckers Jewlers, and we will see you guys in the next video.